Hello, Tarot Tubers. How are you today? I'm here today to talk to you about my July favorites. And there are many. I'm going to try to be succinct, but not my strong suit. So the things that I wanted to talk to you about today are my favorite herbs, books, tarot, and oracle decks. And so I'm going to start with the plants, with the herbs. And of course, we just finished up July, and things are booming in my garden. Things are blooming left and right, and one thing follows the other. I'm harvesting, I'm making my herbal products, and I'm thoroughly enjoying that. Normally, I travel at least 1 week out of the month for my job. But because of COVID, I'm not doing that right now. So I have been home and able to garden when things are ready. I don't have to say, oh shoot, I missed St. John's wort this year, or oh shoot, I missed black cohosh this year, or whatever, because I'm here all the time, and I'm able to water and tend and interact and enjoy all the plant spirits that grow around me. And so it's hard to say what my favorites were for July because there were just so many. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was, this is a flower essence that I made. It's black cohosh. This is one of the Mother Essence bottles. And I have a stand of black cohosh growing in my yard, and it's been growing there for years. And for years now, I've been wanting to make flower essence with the black cohosh, but it just seemed one thing or another prevented me from doing that. But this year I was able to do it, and I did make a video about that on Instagram, and you can hear all about my interaction with the lovely black cohosh. So black cohosh is also used as an herb that you would take to heal you on the physical level. Black cohosh root is used for people who may be having difficulties with painful menstruation, menopausal symptoms, all kinds of things like that. But the flower essence is different because the flower essence is going to heal you energetically on the spiritual level. And so it has different way of healing and different part of ourselves that it does heal. And when I was out in my garden talking with black cohosh, the message that I got after looking at the plant was that it's here to balance the different aspects of ourselves, the more yin aspects and the more yang aspects, and keep us in balance. And it was really powerful to have that experience with that plant spirit. So I'm looking forward. I did make that flower essence a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to start taking it now that we're into August. Another beautiful plant spirit that joined me and I enjoyed working with this month was St. John's wort. And traditionally, St. John's wort blooms around summer solstice. But here where I live on Cape Cod in the east coast of Massachusetts in the United States, it usually comes into readiness a little bit later than that. So I'm usually harvesting St. John's wort, or as my beloved herbal teacher Susan Weed likes to say, St. John's wort, usually in July. And so I often will make an oil with St. John's wort or St. John's wort. But this year I decided to make a tincture. And I don't think the camera is, oh yeah, there you go. Can you see, trying to get, can you see the red? It's really almost like a crimson or a scarlet. It's a beautiful red color. Now, St. John's wort flowers themselves are bright yellow. So why, when you tincture it or make it into an oil, is it red like that? Well, that's because of one of its active constituents, hypericin. And in fact, St. John's wort is called Hypericum perforatum, and so after that active constituent, hypericin. And that's one of the most potent healing constituents of St. John's wort. And St. John's wort is really an incredible nervine, yes, but also it heals damaged nerves. So, for example, it's a wonderful healer for sciatica. You can rub the oil right on directly, or you can take, and I would say do both, take the tincture. So it heals that inflamed and aggravated nerve. As I said, it's also a nervine that helps heal your nervous system if you're feeling anxious or worried, or those 9 of swords kinds of moments. St. John's wort is very good for that. It's also good for depression, seasonal affective disorder, and those kinds of things. It's anti-inflammatory, and it's also a wonderful antiviral. Does that make you think? So that's why I decided to make double batches of the tincture this summer instead of making 1 batch of oil and 1 batch of tincture, because of that antiviral. This should be ready. I started this on July 9th, and this should be ready mid-August. And so once it's ready, I'm going to start taking it every day until I run out of it, which I hope will not be until the end of the winter. So it will help, as I said, with a multitude of things, but in particular, I'm wanting to take it for its antiviral properties. Another plant spirit that I worked with was lavender. And here's some dried lavender from my garden. I harvested all my lavender this year, and what I am discovering is that I do save the flowers for a number of different uses, but I found also that I like to cut when I'm gonna get this ready for storage over the winter. I will cut this off, and then I use those stems to burn as in spell work and for incense. They smell lovely when they burn. And then I'm going to move quickly on and kind of go back and forth between my next topic here, books, and my last herb, lavender. So this is one of the books I worked on reading in July, Beginner's Guide to Alchemy, and I'll talk a little bit more about why I read this book when I get into decks. But in this book, the author, Sarah Dern, talks about beginner's guide. Really, it's a very basic, because I've had a hard time kind of really incorporating the understanding of alchemy and alchemists, but this book is really kind of easier to understand. But anyway, she also has exercises, journal, prompts, and all kinds of things. But one of the things she put at the beginning of the book is called Alchemy Applied. Make your own edible lavender tincture. She calls it a tincture. I call it a glycerate. So what she has you do is you put chop the lavender flowers in, put them in a jar, and then pour vegetable glycerin over, and you shake it, as often as you think about it, so at least once a day. And then you let it set for about 6 weeks. This I started July 18th, so it'll be ready towards the end of August. But why she puts this in the alchemy book is because you watch as the tincture, as she calls it, or the glycerate, the lavender changes forms. When it goes in, it's fresh and it's beautiful, purple and vibrant, and then as it sets in the glycerate, you can see that it's it's not purple anymore. It's getting dark, dark, dark. And she says, use this experiment to both craft an edible glycerin tinged with lavender essence and to embrace one of the most important tenets of alchemy, the enduring reality of physical transformation. So what we learn from this is we see the transformation of the herbal plant matter from that beautiful purple color to darker black, and we see it breaking down in the glycerin. And the same can be said really of any herbal tincture or product that you make. As I said, the St. John's wort flowers were bright yellow, but now you can see the yellow is gone, and we see this red, beautiful red color. And then the flowers that are left behind are neither yellow nor red. They're kind of a brownish, blackish color. So anyway, on to books. And I think I will incorporate the decks. Oh, shoot. Here we go. Sorry, lost my deck. So the reason I bought that book, The Beginner's Guide to Alchemy, was because in May, I think, the end of May or beginning of June, I got this deck from Robert M. Place, The Tarot of the Alchemical Magnum Opus. I'm loving this deck. It's absolutely beautiful. The packaging is wonderful. This is Robert M. Place's new packaging. The cards are gilded and beautiful. The cardstock is absolutely to die for. It's great to shuffle. I love the artwork. It's kind of a distilled, simplified version of his other alchemical deck. You can see, oh, these are, wow, that's a lot of wands. This is a shuffled deck. Yeah, so you can see the artwork is simplified, but it's still powerful. And one of the things that the major arcana are, so this is the well, here's the Fool. And the names of the major arcana are named after alchemical principles. So like this is first matter, materia prima, circulation, let's see, greater conjunction, sublimation, and so forth. And so in this book, The Beginner's Guide to Alchemy, the author talks about the 7 major alchemical processes. And she has a chart that goes through those 7 principles or processes, and she connects them to, so the first one is calcination. This is called climbing the ladder of the planets, and the first planet is Saturn, and it's associated, as I said, with the calcination. And then the metal is lead, and she connects it to zodiac signs, days of the week, organs, color, element, and so forth. And these are some of the cards that are associated with those 7 principles. Fermentation is strength. Coagulation is the devil. Distillation, you can see here, is temperance. Conjunction, makes sense, is lovers. And greater dissolution is the Tower. So when you look at that book, this all becomes clear why these things are called what they're called. And I'm really enjoying reading this book. I'm not done. I want to do the exercises and to continue to work with this deck and the book together. So it's been an enjoyable process, and I'm learning a lot. one of the things that I decided to do the end of last year for this year was to work on heart healing. I don't know if I was just being psychic about how fucked up this year was going to be and how heart-wrenching it was going to be. But anyway, and I saw Maha on Maha's Treasure Box mention this book, Crystal Healing for the Heart. So I'm not done with this book. This is a problem with being an Aries and sanguine, is that you're interested in everything, and so you start a lot of things but have difficulty finishing them. But anyway, I'm continuing to work on these things even though I haven't finished. So I'm working with this book, and I, in my practice, in my healing practice for others, I like to use crystal healing. And so I think now, with all that's going on, particularly in the United States, but globally, with dealing with white supremacy and the incessant interweaving of this country being built on genocide and slavery, people waking up to this, the whole evidence-based research that shows that the trauma of your ancestors is passed on to you through DNA. And so I think crystal healing for the heart, any kind of healing for the heart, is really of the utmost importance right now. And that is what I am going to be, and what I do offer people. One of the herbal products that I make is rose petal elixir, and it's just a powerful heart healer on the spiritual, emotional level. So those are the books I'm working with. I've been reading, because I love to go to the beach in the summertime, I've been reading a lot of thrillers and mystery books when I'm at the beach. So, tarot decks. Well, I worked with a few this past month. One of them was the Modern Witch. Really love this deck. Look at that Empress. What a beautiful July card, really. And you can see that it is very much Rider-Waite-Smith based. But what I like about this is, now look at this card alone. We have an older person. We have people that have different body types. We have people who have different kinds of gender expression, who are of different racial identities. So this deck does normalize diversity and inclusivity. And I think that's really important, and it couldn't be more important now. We don't see, so this is a little tricky because I don't want to put my foot in expressing this wrong, but we have mainly female characters in this deck. But of course, if we look at non-binary gender expression, there are a multitude of gender expressions on that side of the spectrum. I'm sure most of you are all familiar with this deck. I like it quite a bit. I really do enjoy it. So I think it's a great deck to use. I read mostly for women, people who identify as women anyway. And so I think it's wonderful if I want to use a Rider-Waite-Smith deck to use that deck because of the types of folks that are portrayed in that deck. I did do a challenge, a tarot Instagram challenge in July called Way Anchor, and it was really great. I enjoyed it so much, and I had some really stunning moments. And Modern Witch was one of the decks that I used. I used a multitude of decks. I also used this Star Tarot. This is the second edition, and I just got this when it first came out. And man, I love it. I like this deck anyway, but this matte cardstock, borderless. So I think Schiffer Red Feather listened to the community and responded, because what we said was those other cards were too shiny, the laminate peeled, and the borders were too much. And so we have this lovely matte deck with no borders. And I probably will never use my first edition one again, other than maybe as an altar card or something, because I like this one so much more. I did a mid-year check-in. I think it was Owl and Bones on Instagram did a mid-year check-in spread, and I used 3 decks. The first column was 3 cards for lessons learned in the previous 6 months, and I used Ethany's The Awakened Soul Oracle for that, and this is the newer version. 8 of the cards have been completely redone, and I think it greatly improves the deck. So for my lessons learned, I got Connections, Rescue, and Guidance. And then the middle cards are pull a card per month for July through December. And so I used my beloved Tarot de Saint Croix, which I also used for the Way Anchor Challenge. And these are the cards I got. So Page of Cups for July, 10 of Pentacles for August, 6 of Wands for September, 6 of Pentacles for October, 10 of Swords for November, and one of my favorite Hierophant cards for December. So I'm working with that reading. It was really powerful. And then things to be aware of or to think about, or I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's for the next 6 months. And I used another one of my favorites, Lisa Estabrooke's Soulflowers. And I got Stargazer. I pulled these cards in July, and my mom's birthday is in July, and she just passed away in March of this year. So this is the first year I'll have her birthday without her being physically present. And I always, or often, gave her a bouquet of Stargazer lilies for her birthday. So I loved that I pulled that card. And that card is Surrender. And then the another card that I pulled was Zinnia, Lightheartedness. And I love zinnias. I don't know if you can see right behind me is a bouquet of zinnias from my garden. And I think it's so important now that we're having these challenging times to try to find some lightheartedness, some joy, some way to spark our spirits in a happy way. And then the third plant spirit is mugwort. And I did a video last month for